Welcome, Guardians, to another episode of the DTR podcast. I am your host, Jay, the content manager here at Destiny Track. And joining me this week is my amazing friend and co-host, Jay Rambo 919. Jay Rambo,
what's up, everybody? How you guys doing tonight?
Good. I came in loud again, right? I did.
It's good.
It's good.
Loud and fast.
Thank you. Our special guest this week is Professor Broman. Professor Broman, thank you so much for joining us this week.
Hello. Hi, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. And before we kick off the show, I would like to say congratulations on your 5th anniversary on Twitch.
Oh, yeah. That was a few days ago.
Huge milestone. Huge milestone.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
That was nice.
So we have a ton of things to talk about tonight. We do have a lot of questions for Professor Broman. We have a lot of things to talk about in the TWAB, a roadmap to discuss, and then an old article back from the August of 2017 that I do have a quote in there that I do want to discuss. A lot of great things in there. But before we dive into all of that, I do have a few housekeeping things that I do have to get out the way. So you guys can find the DTR podcast on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and the Google Play Store at Destiny Track Podcast. The show is recorded on Fridays at 7:45 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/Destiny Track. If you guys would like to support the show, you guys can subscribe on Apple Podcasts and also leave a review and then follow us on Podbean. All right, Professor Broman, I'm going to throw it over to you, man. Do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself, even though everyone should know who you are?
I mean, I don't think anyone should ever know who I am. Hi, I'm Professor Broman. I am you recognize me most obviously or apparently or most likely from, that's the word I was looking for. Destiny streaming on Twitch. I've been streaming Destiny since it came out on Twitch. My channel grew a lot with the Destiny community. I am eternally grateful for that. You may have also seen me on the House of Wolves reveal stream, which we were just talking about. That was like almost it was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Like today or coming up soon. It was 3 years ago. So that was kind of wild. And then, I'm just a member of the community. And, I'm the charity director for GuardianCon. So those are the things I do.
Sweet. So how did you get into streaming on Twitch?
How did I get into streaming? I got started streaming on Twitch because I watched an event called the Hurricane Sandy-thon back when Hurricane Sandy happened. Yeah. There was a group of speedrunners that put together like a really quick 72-hour speedrunning marathon for that event and or to raise money for hurricane relief. And so I kind of fell in love with the idea of connecting with other gamers on Twitch and using that connection to raise money for charity. So I actually got started on Twitch because of other people's charity work.
Nice. All right. So yeah. J-Ram, I'll pass it over to you because I have some really lengthy questions. So you can go first, my man.
All right. So we'll get the easy ones out of the way first. How about that?
Okay.
All right. So here's the first one. You ready? Obviously, everybody knows your face from streaming, but more importantly from the GuardianCon week-long events that you and Cathalion and a bunch of other streamers host together, which the aim is to raise money for St. Jude. Absolutely. My question is, when that was in the development stage, what was the main goal for that, other than just
for the charity side of things?
Yeah. Well, just in general, like did you know from the start that you really wanted to do like a charity stream, or was it like, okay, we have this presence on Twitch. What good can we do with it?
So what had happened was, so we had an accidental meetup here in Tampa where we had 42 content creators show up at a meetup. Bife was there. We had people from all over the world, and 1,000 people showed up at this bar, and we were like, shit. So that was the first. That was the first GuardianCon, like air quotes. It was Whoopstany-con, because we weren't planning on that many people showing up. So the next year we wanted to repeat that because we were like, wow, a lot of people showed up. Like, what if we made this an actual event and, made it worth people's time to travel? So while we were in process of planning the physical event, I thought that I would take on the challenge of crafting a week-long charity marathon like AGDQ, because that's where I come from on Twitch, is the speedrunning community. That's how I got started. So I was like, we have all these wonderful people and such a positive community. Let's all try and band together and see what we can do for charity, because everyone together has so much influence, right? That's like the buzzword for streamers and YouTubers and podcast people. Everyone's an influencer now. So we had we had a really lengthy conversation about how we could effectively use the influence that everyone had to sort of raise money for charity. And then we started reaching out for folks, and everybody got behind the event, and it was incredible. We've raised approximately $2 million to date through the efforts of all the people involved.
That is awesome. Now, can you give us a preview into GuardianCon this year?
Like, what do you want?
Anything that you can tell us.
I'll give you some exclusives if you.
Yeah, sure. That'd be great if you could do that.
Well, so I'm trying to think if there's anything I can tell you that I won't get stabbed for later by Kevin.
Are we going to have another competitive PvP match?
I will say that we are leaning very heavily towards another competitive PvP event now that the roadmap is out, and they're making all of these changes, and they're introducing, private matches, which is the only thing that we really need to run the event. We are definitely. It's more about if the community is behind if we can get enough teams together, we'll absolutely do it. But as you know, the PvP community is relatively unhappy right now with the state of things, and rightfully so. So I would. It is on them. We're planning on doing it, but if it's an entire different conversation if everybody wants to show up. So we're definitely looking into that. We're definitely looking into bringing in Fortnite and a lot of other AAA game title folks we have been speaking to. But I won't mention their names out of, respect to the conversation and not ruining things. But if you were a fan of the work that the Warframe people did last year, their Warframe Digital Extremes is going to be involved again this year. And actually coming up, we're beginning our fundraising year. We're going to be doing a whole bunch of events leading up to the charity marathon. And the first event we're doing is an event with Gearbox at a Borderlands community event that's been this will be its 5th year running, called The Hunt. So anyone who wants to participate in that, I believe signups will be, I think they're live now on the forums. I haven't tweeted about them yet because I'm bad. But the fundraising, that event will run for a week, and it starts February 19th. And anyone can participate. It's always a really fun time. We'll be raising money for St. Jude. I'll be streaming Borderlands 2. Gathalion will. A lot of the Borderlands 2 community tends to come back for this event every year, and we are working with Gearbox to really put a charity spin on it and bring in some really cool prizes and hopefully raise $100,000+ with this event. For our goal overall this year for GuardianCon is to raise $2.4 million. That runs the hospital for a full day. So it's very expensive at St. Jude, but it's worth it. So part of the way we're doing that is we're getting other communities involved leading up to the event. And that's the first one we got going on. So if you're listening and you want to stream on Twitch, you can sign up for the Hunt. You can go check out the Gearbox forums. Sign-ups are there, and it's going to be a great time. Whether you're a new streamer or a veteran, it's the Borderlands community is amazing, and they would love to help you find good gear and win.
Awesome. Now, for some of our listeners and viewers, are there tickets left for GuardianCon?
Yes, there's plenty of tickets.
And what about the VIP tickets?
We have less than 50, I think, which is great. Every other year they sold out in 2 hours. So we upped the total amount available this year to, I think the first year it was 500, last year it was 700, and this year it's 1,000. Wow. So good. It feels like we finally hit a good goal. We did hear your feedback last year, and all the VIPs were really happy to. Yes. Oh my God. Right. No, we heard your feedback last year. We the VIP lounge wasn't exactly what everyone wanted. It wasn't what we wanted either. So this year we're stepping everything up in there. There's going to be exclusive events for VIPs and all that other stuff. And I'm working really hard to sell those 50 tickets right now. But if you just want to attend the event, we have space for up to 30,000 people. Wow. This year, since it's the Tampa Bay Convention Center. And so there's literally no cap on attendance this year. We're going to be doing a lot of local advertising in the Tampa Bay area, which is something we haven't done yet. So our projected attendance working with the city of Tampa Bay, who's going to be like welcoming everyone, and they've got like special packages. Oh, yeah. You can go to citytampabay.com or something like that. Wow. And there's like there's a package you can buy for the event that lets you go to like Busch Gardens and the aquarium, go out to Clearwater and meet like the marine sanctuary they have out there and meet dolphins and things like that.
And Hulk Hogan.
Maybe Hulk Hogan's got 3 restaurants out there.
I got a really good Hulk Hogan story about last year. I'll tell you about it after the.
No, I want to hear it. I want to hear it. But yeah, so the biggest change that we have this year is a lot of people we know came down here with their family, took vacation time, went to Disney World. And so the other big primary goal that we had was making sure that every family who was attending could have an amazing time here in Tampa. And the city of Tampa Bay has come alongside us with that. There's going to be like greeting banners in the airport. Like the big digital screen is going to be like welcome Guardians to GuardianCon and stuff. It's going to be fucking kick-ass.
That's amazing.
If you've been on the fence while we've been growing the event, I totally understand the hesitation. To quote Corey's concept, our first year was an accident. Our second year was a test. And this year is our statement year for the event. So we're really pulling out all the stops, and we'd love for you to come. Promise it's going to be a good time. And if you can't, it will be on Twitch, the whole event, twitch.tv/GuardianCon. So you won't be left out.
And that leads me to my next question, which is if they want to donate everything, how easy will it be for them to donate?
You can donate right now, actually. You can go to guardiancon.co/support. You can donate there directly, or if you're a streamer, YouTuber, content creator, if you have a Facebook page, doesn't fucking matter. You can set up a fundraiser. Sorry, I don't know if they're swearing on this podcast.
You're allowed.
You're allowed.
Okay, cool. Thanks. It doesn't matter. You can set up a team page there, and you can do fundraising for the event. We're working on some really cool prizes for the top individual fundraisers for the year. Whether that's, stuff that we get from Bungie themselves, or it's stuff that we buy, or stuff that St. Jude's providing. We really want to support everyone who's supporting the event. So there's no reason, and like the whole reason we do GuardianCon is because I believe that St. Jude is a fantastic charity of choice for your entire life. They do so much good. If you've not heard of them before, I'll give you the 30-second goal. St. Jude is a children's research hospital that's focused on curing cancer. They have helped raise cancer survival rates in the 60 years they've been open from 20% to 80%. The primary cancer that they work on is lymphoma and lymphoblastoma. They have increased the survival rate from 6% to 92%.
Wow.
In the 60 years that they've been open, and they will not stop until no child dies from cancer. That is their goal. And every family that goes there, it's an international hospital. They fly you there, house you there, give you treatment, continue your children's education, take care of the families, provide groceries, everything for free. And that is why we chose to support St. Jude.
Awesome.
Well, I'm passionate about it.
Well, I'm sure you've heard this. I'm sure you heard this a million times, and you're going to hear it a million times over again. And I'm not one that can speak on behalf of the community, but I know from Destiny Track and everything, what you guys do is amazing. I know these kids just love the fact that you guys are helping out and everything. And it's really special when you can find people that put something bigger than themselves in front of their lives for time being. And you guys nail it, man. So thank you very much for everything that you do within the community and everything.
Thank you for being part of it.
Oh, it's fantastic. It really is,
Thank you.
All right, now that was the fun stuff.
Yeah,
now,
I want to hear about Hulk Hogan though. Can I hear about Hulk Hogan really quick? I know we got a lot to talk about. Can you tell me about Hulk Hogan's story?
All right, so last year,
be selfish.
Last year, and it'll be in March. It'll be a year. My brother got married in Clearwater. Actually, sorry.
All right.
My controller down here. My brother got married in the Sand Pearl restaurant, which is in Clearwater.
Oh, I love Sand Pearl. Yeah,
it's gorgeous down there.
Yeah.
So my wife and I, we get down there and we check into the Sand Pearl, and I mean, just absolutely phenomenal hotel.
Yeah.
And we're hanging out, dicking around and everything, and I hear a rumor. My brother goes, "Dude, I think I saw Hulk Hogan." I'm like, "No, you didn't." Now I'm a huge wrestling fan, love wrestling.
Okay.
And the night progresses. Very boring night. We go to bed. We wake up. I wake up to a text message from my brother, And my brother's is a very muscular individual.
Okay.
Buff as hell. And it's a picture of him and Terry, and they're flexing, right? They're doing the arm pose. And the caption is just crushing buys with Terry this morning. Okay. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I did what any real Hulk Hogan fan would have done. I ran to the nearest shop. I got myself an American flag pair of bathing suit trunks, and I looked for Hulk Hogan because I wanted to sing the theme song.
That is insane. You're insane.
Did you find him?
No. Everybody in my family found him and drank beer with him. Had a great time. They said as an individual, he was so nice. Very opening, very nice guy. I never saw him once, and I was so upset because I'm the only one in the family that if I can't hear somebody, I'll still do the Hulk Hogan ear
okay.
thing.
Yeah, the hand wave. Yeah.
I get into it. So, anyways, there is my Hulk Hogan story that I will meet him one day.
One day.
You absolutely will.
Yeah.
It's my destiny. And speaking of destiny, let's ask you some destiny questions real fast.
Okay? I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Transition.
Thank you, sir. I learned from Holt. Holtzman's transitions are horrible. They'll be talking about hot dogs, and then he'll bring up something completely irrelevant, like
speaking
mattresses.
Of dogs, have you found the new way through the pleasure gardens? Nailed it.
All right, so there is no doubt that over the past couple months, Destiny 2, just Destiny in general, definitely has had some heat attached to it.
Rough spot.
It's a rough spot, right? Yeah. And if Bungie flew you out for like a week, right? They said, Broman, you're a really smart guy. You've been playing this game for a long time. You stream it. You've been playing other games as like Borderlands 2 and stuff like that. Like you have a nice background of knowledge when it comes to looter and shooter type games.
Sure.
If you could fix 3 things, and this is a magical thing. It's magical. So you say these 3, right. They snap their fingers.
I'll ignore all sense and man hours and everything. Okay.
Exactly. What would those 3 things be?
I would like quadruple the depth of the loot pool. I would so that includes like more exotics, more armor to chase. I would reduce the rate at which you earn rewards, and reduce the rate at which you earn rewards so it feels like you earn it. And then 3, I don't know, 3 is tough.
Everything just sounds better in 3s. That's why I chose
3. No, 3's great. No, and I mean, I like the way PvP is set up right now. I would just shorten time to kill and bring back special and power weapons.
So, given those answers that you just provided us with, how do you feel your initial reaction with Destiny 2 was compared to what it is now?
My initial reaction?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, like when it came out, I was over the moon. I'm a fucking magpie. Like I like shiny things, right? So I'm like, oh god, it's new and shiny. Like I'm the least objective reviewer of anything ever in the history of the universe. Like everything is awesome for the first 2 hours to me. Like every video game ever. So I was really excited about Destiny. I had such an incredible time. Playing like through everything, obviously trying to chase world first, getting 3rd and then 2nd sucked. But like ultimately, my initial reaction was, wow, this is great. And then after about 100 hours, I was like, oh, I have nothing left to do. That kind of sucks. So that was me. That was like, the first month, I think it was great. And then right around the time the PC launch came out, the shine started coming off of everything.
Do you think the shine was coming off because you were exhausted of the game or because you've realized this is what the game had to offer?
As somebody who played Destiny 1 through the bad times, right? Like, when there was only Crota's End and all this other stuff, when the rest of the world was like, this game fucking sucks and they're shitting on it, and I loved it. Still,
I loved year 1
because the sense of community in year 1 and year 2, and even when Rise of Iron launched, like whenever the content came out, Destiny's systems were designed in a way to keep you engaged, and from a content creation or like friendship side, like networking community side, there was always something to bring you back in and like collaborate with, because the gear felt valuable or you were trying to chase that last exotic. or you were trying to, finish the raid for the first time. There were so many people who hadn't finished raids but wanted to, and a lot of that, like emotionality and attachment that I feel like the community had previously isn't there. Like if like I could boot up my stream tomorrow and be like, who wants to do viewer raids, and everyone would be like, meh. But I used to do Crota's End for like 10 hours every day because it was fun for me to do. 2, there were so many people who wanted to do it. And it was always a good time because you were helping people like chase that power level, chase that goal or that next unlock, get the Black Hammer, get the Necrochasm, whatever it might have been. And now there's just like, there's a distinct lack of incredibly unique things to chase.
So to piggyback off of, oh no, I listen, you're kind of like in my brain right now, saying everything that I think of. Well, maybe the baldness, I don't know. It's a sweet ass haircut you got.
We look the same.
You touched upon something that I think a lot of people miss, and I think that's because right now everybody's fired up about this.
Yeah.
The emotion part of the game. Do you, in your opinion, and think about, in terms of like the loot chase, the loot, the weapons, the static weapons, the PvP. Do you think Bungie too often chooses the safe choice versus the right choice?
So here is what I have to say about that, and I've said this on stream a lot. When you're in game development, you have to make a choice often between 2 paths, right? And they're both viable, and they both make sense, and neither one of them is like technically wrong. And you don't know how people are going to respond to it because it's like making a TV show. Like you don't really know how the TV show is going to perform until the audience watches it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So I feel like Destiny 1, they took a bunch of risks in one direction, and it really got the hardcore crowd like fell in love with it. Like there were a lot of people who fucking hated Forever 29 and all that bullshit and the chase for your light level. But that was the risk, right? When they released Destiny 1, the risk was we're going to really make the power chase difficult. And in Destiny 2, they went the opposite direction, right? So they decided, okay, well, we sort of moved the needle towards this quicker chase throughout Destiny 1's history. So let's remake the game with a chase that we maybe want, right? So they make the decision to make it much easier to get your power level up, make it much easier for you to collect all the gear that you want. And so I feel like both of those decisions were incredibly risky. One of them paid off and one of them didn't. And now we're watching them sort of like, so they've moved the needle this way, right? And now they started here and they're moving it, back to the middle. That's why they're doing things and I don't know if you want to get into the TWAB yet, but they're doing things that people have asked for. Like they're increasing the complexity of raid rewards to make you feel more powerful. They're adding masterwork armor, masterwork weapons that, allow you to customize your character more, which was completely lost. The only way you could customize your character in Destiny 2 is how they looked. And even after like a few weeks, everybody kind of started to look the same because there was like 3 or 4 sets everyone liked. And so that became an issue. So you see them pushing everything back to greater complexity, which I think is great. I feel like they sided so to finish my thought, Destiny 1, they sided with hardcore casual or hardcore players that really like they wanted to grind, like a WoW type experience, right? And this time they really sided on like the everybody gets a reward, everybody gets presents, everybody has fun stuff side. And both of those are viable options. And the community response each time has been like, this isn't exactly what we want. So my hope is whenever we get Destiny 3, and I know that's way down the road, you foul ball into left field, foul ball on the right field, home run. Like that's my hope. But for now, I think it's going to take a lot of sort of course correcting, increasing complexity, and solving a lot of the problems that are evident because the game's too easy, too casual to grind. I think that just based off the timelines that they've done before, I really feel like it's going to be around the same time that we got the Taken King that Destiny 2 is really going to start to feel like Destiny again.
So,
Now,
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, my caveat is both of the raids in Destiny 2 are by far my favorite raiding experiences. Period. I like them better than all the raids in Destiny 1, and you can flame me as much as you want. That's fine. But I felt like the raid team created a systemization in both of those raids that really, really lock in what people loved about raiding in Destiny 1. Leviathan is a little bit more mechanics heavy, but so was Taken King. Taken King, King's Fall, which we got world first for. Just gotta do that. King's Fall was very mechanic heavy, and it made a lot of the community shy away. All the complaints people have about Leviathan, same complaints they had about that. And then Rise of Iron, Axis, that was fast, run and gun, really quick, not a lot of encounters, but just fast and furious, and that is a lot what Eater of Worlds feels like. And I just feel like they're both kind of, currently in the Destiny's history, they're both like pinnacle experiences on both sides of that coin. That's how I feel.
So just to follow up with my last question,
sure.
I kind of had some questions, but your answers have sparked other questions, so that's what I'm running with right now.
Okay,
so,
that's fine.
All right, so you referenced...
Here to ruin your flow.
No, man, the flow is... I'm feeling the flow right now. So you referenced D3, which is really interesting, okay? Because there's been multiple articles where specifically you, Gathalion, even Dado has been referenced as far as leaving Destiny, right? Or leaving Destiny. And I think initially when I read that, I thought, oh, leaving Destiny. Number one, what does that mean? And I hope I can say you guys are not leaving Destiny. It's just... You're doing other things right now. Like
when Reddit picked up Corey's subletter and acted like it was the fucking end of the universe.
Right.
I can tell you, because he's my friend, like that made him unhappy. Like that's not the point was, and I think the point that everyone is making on the content creator side of things is, you have to keep everything you're doing alive if you want to keep producing content. So for me, for Corey, for Dado, Mr. Fruit, who even though like he hasn't been directly quoted anywhere, he's been diversifying his content as well. Like these are all people who grew with the Destiny community that are being forced to diversify right now because the game is in a bad place for content creation right now. So when I say or Goth says or Dado says something like, I'm not going to be making as much Destiny content right now until I'm pulled back into the game. It means that it's like, we need a break. It doesn't mean everyone's done forever.
Right.
Every like the next DLC, I'm going to be there with bells on because new content in Destiny always feels great, period. Yeah. Like it always does. I have like the first 20, 30 hours with new content in Destiny, heaven, every single time. Great. And now I'm shilling, so whatever, kiss my ass. But that's truly how I feel. So I'm always going to be there for that. It's what happens in the interim that is going to keep people or push people away. And so right now, I speaking for just myself, like I have a stronger draw every morning when I wake up to like fucking grind Monster Hunter because I have been a fan of Monster Hunter for 7 years. Like before I even started broadcasting, I used to play it on my Wii U back when I didn't have any friends to play with. I always played offline, and I was like, this game's so hard, it doesn't make any fucking sense. And I refused to look up Wikipedia and stuff. So I have a bigger draw to play that, or like play through classics. Like I played through Earthbound in January, which was like my favorite RPG, and play Fortnite, different things like that. Than I do to play Destiny. And I think that something that every Destiny content creator has always said, but nobody believed them until right now, was we are playing this game because we are in love with it. And right now, everyone is just being fucking honest and saying, I'm not in love with this right now, so I can't, and I respect you as my community too much to fake it. And I really hope that people start understanding that as the message and not fuck this game, because it's absolutely not that.
I agree with you. It's not
that. I like the way you put that. Yeah.
So what? And here's
Thank
the
you.
question.
I'm glad I put that well. That's good.
Well,
I'm
here's
always
the question.
worried when I walk over on that side of the fence, but yeah.
here's my question, and I'll put it in Broman terms.
Okay.
What does Destiny have to do to get you back in this love affair where you would consistently stream it?
I mean, like, I need things to chase, and that's it. Like, I mean, for me, that's what it is. Like, right now, if I boot up Monster Hunter, I have 100 different sets that I can work towards, right? Like, oh, I want to make an Ice Gun Lance right now, or I really, really want to make I really want to finish this Xeno'jiva set or whatever. Or I really need to try and find the perfect gems for this set so I can, like, min-max it, okay? Destiny 1, like, had moments like that. It was always, like, MMO light, right? Mm-hmm. Like, there wasn't, everything in the game wasn't viable, so you didn't need to try and chase down, like, the perfect roll on, like, the Hopscotch Pilgrim, but also the perfect roll, high fire rate, auto rifle, and then, like, the perfect roll, whatever. Like, it was always, like, one of 5 or 6 things, but you still needed to get the right perk tree on that, and that's why everyone would, kill Omnigull for 10 hours trying to get, like, the perfect roll on a grasp. Like, Destiny needs things like that. Mm-hmm. And whether that is bringing back random rolls on weapons, or if it's, and I mean, honestly, this is how I feel, and this is the thing that's hardest for me to say. I feel like to have the loot system be perfect for me, they would need to just gut it and start over. Because something that I have always wanted in Destiny, and if we're really talking about becoming legend and becoming attached to your character and making your character your own, that idea for me is, okay, I have all these activities. I want to make an auto rifle. So I need to go on patrol in Venus, because I go on patrol in Venus. That gives me the high fire rate barrel. I like that because I want high fire rate. Now I need to get a stock. So I'm going to go do strikes, and I'm going to kill this guy, 100 times to try and get the perfect drop on this stock. So I have a little bit more impact. Like, that's the kind of systems that I like. And that makes your, whole experience as a player, like, every gun and every weapon that you have is special because you had to build it. And I think that kind of a system can exist in harmony with the current system. Like, you can still have static drops, but if you have a forge, which is in the game, but if you have a forge and you can take these parts of the forge and you can be like, this is Professor Broman's auto rifle, this is the sight that he got, this is the barrel he got, the stock that he got, this is the ammo type that he got. These are the perks that he selected, like whether he's like, this is the time warp mechanic thing that increases his fire rate and stick it in the barrel or whatever. Like, a sense of ownership is what makes any loot-based game, like, that's what makes you connect with it. Like, Monster Hunter, when you get a full set, you fucking earned it because it took you 80 hours.
Yeah.
And Monster Hunter's not afraid to fuck you. Borderlands 2 was not afraid to fuck you. That's a group. Like, back at I guess you speedrun Borderlands 2, right? And there were 2 catching points, right? You needed to get a Jacob's shotgun that had more than 1 barrel to drop somewhere between level 6 and level 9 when you were starting. And then once you hit level 10, you needed to fast travel to Sanctuary. And the first time you opened a gun vendor, it needed to have a Vladov rocket launcher. That was the perfect setup. And I spent 4,000 hours speedrunning that game. And I would say at least half of that time was getting to that point just to start over. And I was in love with that. And I realized I have, like, an insane tolerance for bullshit because of speedrunning. But, there needs to be a possibility for you not to get the thing that you want.
Yeah.
And drop rate percents and stuff like that are fine. There are things in other games where you have less than 1% of a chance of getting it. And I really wish there was stuff like that in Destiny.
Now, I am glad you brought up that point, because there's actually a quote from the article that I do want to talk about later in the show that kind of talks about that.
That's great.
Yeah. J-Ram, I'm just going to throw it back over to you.
No, I was just gonna say it's funny that you mentioned that, because it seems like, just given this interview right now, your overall theme of what you find fun is give me something to chase, give me investment, and at the end of the day, I want to feel like I earned it. And I think those 3 things right now is exactly what this game is missing.
I agree.
I was never a fan of the you go to Hawthorne to get your Trials of the Nine engram because you had people in your clan do it, but you didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I like, and see that here's the thing though. Like there are some systems in the game, and I'll push back on you on this.
Okay.
I think that if the systems I just talked about were in place, for the way to retain the casual player base is to leave that system in. Because
that I wouldn't disagree with.
The stuff that you build and the stuff that you earn would be more powerful than that stuff. Like, and that was my assumption when they announced that. I was like, oh, this shit's gonna drop at 10 power.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna show up at Hawthorne. Like, you might show up at Hawthorne and get the fucking Trials auto, but it's gonna be a 10 power, and you're gonna have to go make it your own.
Right.
And then when I opened up my first Trials package, I was like, oh, that's max power, huh?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
No,
Uh-oh.
I agree.
That's how I felt. Yeah.
If that system, to me, that seems like the token system right now, which is, I thought the token system when I started getting these tokens was, oh, this is the auxiliary thing in case your RNG is not that great.
Yeah.
Not this is the main system.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't like that. And another thing that you mentioned, which was, grinding Monster Hunter and everything.
Yeah.
I'm really having a lot of fun right now in the Division. I'm having so much fun that I took 2.5 to 3 hours out of my day to create a spreadsheet that organizes all the gear for me. That way I know what gear sets I have.
You need to put that shit online, man. People
there's so much, man. Oh, dude, it's dope. I got it like little check marks and everything, and then over on the one page it shows you how many you have, and if you have these, what perk you unlock and everything. Because there's just there is so much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That, let's be honest, it's definitely overwhelming. And I was like, dude, I gotta get organized. Gotta get organized.
That's how Borderlands 2 was. Like the way they designed weapons in Borderlands 2 is there's manufacturers, right? Like Vladov, Jacobs, Hyperion, whatever. And all of the parts on the weapon are randomly produced around the stock. So the stock would determine, like, this is a Hyperion shotgun. And then you could get like a Jacobs barrel, and you could get you could get a Hyperion sight on it. You get all this other shit, a Torg stock, and all this stuff would affect the stats. And because they designed it like that, I think there's over 11.2 million potential gun combinations in that game because of how they designed the system. So like, I'm a huge fan of complexity like that. And the thing is, you don't build complexity like that so that every single gun is viable. Like 90% of that shit's trash.
Right.
But because 90% of the shit is trash, when you get something that's valuable, it feels special. Because you had to sort through the trash.
My only fear with a system like that within D2 is, and it shouldn't be a fear, but it is.
Sure.
PvE and PvP are not separated, so they don't want the person to make a god roll gun.
If I can go back to the 3 things I'd change and make it 4, I would say that separate balancing for PvP and PvE is something that I think the community has been talking and asking about for 3 years.
Time. Yeah.
And I understand like Bungie's point on this, and what they've said multiple times is they want like tactile continuity for want every weapon to always feel the same.
Right.
And I get it, and that's a design choice, but I'm so curious to see what would happen if every weapon in the game could be tuned completely differently. So you could just make stuff that destroyed in PvE, and then you take it into PvP, and it's like any other auto rifle. Maybe it does like 1 more impact or something, so it's not game breaking. But separate balancing for PvP and PvE is like a must. I feel like it's a must at this point, because when you don't have it, it destroys your ability to create diversity.
I agree.
If you were to ask me that question, name something you would change, that would be my first one. Is separating those 2 worlds altogether.
Gotcha.
It's like that one Seinfeld episode with George. Relationship George.
Yeah.
And then friend George. And if those 2 Georges meet in real life, game over. The world will cease to exist. Maybe I'm showing my age there. Ooh.
No, it's good. Seinfeld's great.
Seinfeld's amazing. Those are all my questions.
Watch some Seinfeld tonight.
You had lengthy questions, J-Ram. Great questions.
I've been looking forward to this.
Crushed
Thank God he doesn't have the flu anymore.
Awesome question. Dude, the flu was a monster.
Yeah, it
I heard you had
me
it too.
Yeah, I had it. Yeah, it destroyed me.
Dude, I hate going on Google News first thing in the morning, and then you hear about like young people or really old people dying because of the flu.
Yeah,
it was
like I don't get it.
Fucked up this year.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, it was apparently this year like the flu shot was only 5% effective. And it was like a mix of swine flu and avian flu. And so they did the hybrid thing, which is why you got like the bad fever and you puked, but you also had a stomachache and shit your pants. Like,
fucking bubble guts.
It was
pretty
bad.
The bubble guts, for sure. Yeah. So, but anyway, enough about the flu.
All right, Jay, you're up, brother.
So for my question, it really talks about Anthem a bit, because this has been bothering me all week. So last week, we did talk about that Anthem was put back to 2019.
Yes.
So EA has actually confirmed that this week to the Wall Street Journal, saying yes, the game has been pushed back to 2019, but their reasoning just doesn't sit well with me. And their reasoning was, well, we are pushing the game back so it doesn't overshadow the new Battlefield game this year. Now, at first, that makes sense. Like, that makes sense. But then, after thinking about it for a while and doing some research, they have known for a long time that a Battlefield game was going to launch in the fall of 2018. But they still announced Anthem last year saying, well, the game is going to come out in the fall of 2018. So, one, what are your thoughts on that? And do you think the game was pushed back? Because Jason Schreier did report on that, well, the game has some trouble with development. They had some engine problems. Top executives were leaving and things like that. So what are your thoughts on the game being pushed back, and do you think the game was rebooted?
I don't think it was rebooted. I think that they needed to redo a large section of it because EA got their shit kicked in with Battlefront.
That's putting it nicely.
And I think
it's true though.
I think that there's a high level of possibility that there was heavy microtransaction focus in the game. And they needed to remove that and retool the dynamics. That was the first thing I thought when it was because everyone was talking about like, oh, are you excited about Anthem? And I was like, I would be if it weren't for, publisher. So, so I think that, everybody's incredibly concerned about, the reaction of the consumer right now. And I think that there are a lot of games that are sort of going back through another process of kind of getting shined up and retooled because there may have been a lot more microtransactions planned for said game, but now they need to take them out. So that was my first reaction. I mean, like, you can say whatever you want, and maybe they did want to push it back for Battlefront for some other weird marketing analytics reasons, but it really feels like a market reaction to, because listen, if you're coming out over a year before your game is launched saying stuff like, don't worry, our microtransactions are just cosmetic. If you're already doing damage control, you're in a bad fucking place. So that's my thoughts.
You are 100% right about that. J-Ram, you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, just to piggyback off of that and what we said last week, I also think in an indirect way, the blowback from Battlefront 2 and the blowback from the Eververse kind of maybe made those guys think twice about how not only microtransactions, but how do you. And I don't like microtransactions at all, but if it's the necessary devil I have to live with, fine. How to integrate them into the game properly, because Battlefront 2, it was integrated into the progression. In Destiny 2, it was integrated into the progression.
It is part of the progression,
I mean, and for people out there that are living in like delusional land that don't think so, one of the reasons Bungie even said we can't do certain things is because we don't want mods to become, or we don't want mods showing up in Eververse, because they're already showing up in there now with the mods 2.0 thing. And it's like, that's because you boneheads designed it that way. Like, don't tell me it's raining when you're pissing on my leg. Like, I'm not stupid. It's okay. Just admit it. That's it. I can live with that. But I think indirectly the current culture right now in gaming when it comes to microtransactions kind of played a role. Maybe not as maybe not as big as what we may be thinking, but somebody in that boardroom kind of raised their hand and just went, "Do you guys see what's happening with other games right now? Maybe we should rethink this.
We should do something different." Yeah. It's a very high possibility.
I want you to remember what you just said about it was integrated into progression, because I'm really excited for our last segment of the night. I want you to remember that.
I will write it down with my on my pad.
So let's move on to my favorite segment of the show, the most fun that you guys had in video games this week. Professor Broman, you first, my man.
I have been absolutely loving Monster Hunter. I have been waiting for a Monster Hunter game on console since 3U. I'm in love with it. It's my favorite franchise. They made all the right changes, and yeah, that's it. I've been loving crushing Mons in the face with every giant ridiculous weapon I could possibly make.
All right, J-Ram.
Yeah.
Division, man. It literally, I come home from teaching and it's so bad. It's gotten to the point where I'll let out my students early so I can get home.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I have that luxury. I teach university, so I was done today. My stats course was supposed to be over at 150, and I let him out at 125.
Well, I mean, if you get the information out there.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? It's Friday. We're doing well. Let's just go home. Meanwhile, I'm like speeding because I want to go home and think about how am I going to integrate this spreadsheet into the game. So that's what I thought about on the way home. I know.
I love it.
I know.
So for me, the Sea of Thieves beta did end this week, so I was playing that. I was having a ton of fun in that, and again, just right back to Fortnite and PUBG, but having a ton of fun on that in those two games.
I see that game, Sea of Thieves, and I like it. I watched. In fact, Broman, I watched you a little bit. I watched Italian. On my way to work.
We were very drunk.
I hope it has legs. I really do. That game is really cool. I just wanted to.
It's like the ultimate sandbox, right?
Yeah.
Like it's there for you to have some stupid fun with your friends, not worry about other shit. And I think it does a great job of that. I hope it has legs too. I think that it's definitely going to be a game that you want to play with your friends and do weird random shit and get into shenanigans and have crazy exploits because that seems to be how the game is designed, is to be ridiculous. I'm excited about it.
It's cool because you can see the skeletons come up from the ground, right?
So
automatically they're breaking the idea that this is an authentic pirate game where all you do is loot stuff. So I really hope they really dig deep down into the mythical side of that stuff, like like chasing after a kraken or something like that.
Oh, there better be a goddamn kraken in that game.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like
just
let it just go crazy with it. That's all. Just get creative, go crazy. So far though, it looks fun. If I were to get it, I'd get it on PC though. PC looks amazing.
Yeah. And you can't play with PC and Xbox. It is digging. I forgot the word.
Play anywhere.
Yeah, play anywhere. Yep.
Boy, what a really good move by Xbox.
I like play anywhere, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys. So sweet games.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to our Trials of the Nine segment. We haven't done this in a while, so I'm really glad to bring it back this week. So last week's map was Survival on Distant Shore. And we play a little game here on the show where we guess how many kills a certain weapon received in the Trials of the Nine in the previous weekend. So this is kind of like The Price is Right. I'm pretty sure you've seen The Price is Right, right, Professor Broman?
I have seen The Price is Right.
Good.
So we got to get close but not go over.
There you go.
Yes. So we usually do Uriel's Gift or Mida, but I'm tired of doing those two guns. So the number one weapon was Uriel's Gift, but I don't want to do that. So we're going to do the number two weapon, and that was Antiope D. So we're going to do that one. Yeah. So to give you guys some context, Uriel's Gift had 1.3 million kills. So that's pretty low.
Okay.
That's pretty low. So
that's because only 200,000 people played.
Under.
Rip.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll just say yeah. I can't give
I'll just say yes.
Yeah, I'll just say yeah.
All right.
So to show you how this go, Professor Broman, J-Ram, you first. So don't go over 1.3. All
right. Second place. Less than 200,000 people played, so if everybody gets at least 3 kills, I'll say 600,000.
600,000. Wow, that's pretty low. All right. Professor Broman.
850,000.
850,000.
What a dick. I think he won.
All right, so
Feels right.
Antiope D had 1.2 million kills.
Oh,
so
God.
you won.
I
Did I
was
win?
really.
Did I
Yeah, yes, you won.
Fuck you.
You were going to Hawaii with your new PlayStation 4 and a shitty Yaris.
All right. Nice.
I was actually gonna send it to Seattle. I'll send you over to Seattle.
All right.
Seattle, Washington, or cruise to Alaska, whichever you want.
Cruise to Alaska. I'll take Cruise to Alaska.
Cruise to Alaska.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
All right. So it had 1.2 million kills. And then Maida's right underneath that at 724,000. So there's a gap right there. There's a gap right there. My favorite week has to be with Prometheus Lens. It was like 9.8 million kills. It was insane.
Oh my God.
That was insane.
Prometheus Lens was fun. I liked playing laser tag.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Did you guys play Trials last weekend, Professor Broman? Did you
Last weekend?
Yeah.
I don't know if I played this most recent weekend, but 2 weekends ago I did. I played a offline ticket, and it was great. We won, and it wasn't hard at all.
Nice.
It was unbelievable. Fucking assholes.
J-Rem, did you, man?
No, come on now.
Nah, I know. I still have to ask, man. I still have to ask.
I appreciate you asking.
Still have to ask.
I do. I appreciate it.
I still have to ask. All right. So, yep, that's Trials of the 9. All right, so something super interesting is happening next week. Well, it's super interesting to me. I don't know if you guys are going to find it interesting. Next week is the first Activision investor call of 2018 and the last Activision investors call for their CEO. I totally forgot his name just now. My apologies. So it is on February 8th. That is next Thursday. And I'm really, really excited because they're going to talk about the new COD, like give hints to it. And of course, give out a roadmap for D2. Yeah, we have a roadmap right now, but they're going to talk about that there will be a fall 2018 expansion. Well, we can speculate that there will be a fall 2018 expansion. And of course, they have to answer a lot of these questions from shareholders about what's the future of the game going to look like, because we do know there are some issues and shareholders are really, they don't really have much faith that the game will improve. So I'm really curious to see how that call is going to go next week, and we will be covering it here.
I'm excited.
Oh yeah. What do you guys?
I always like the investor calls because, you know, if anything's going real bad, you get to hear the damage control, and I'm a big fan of that. A lot comes out in the wash when people have to justify dropping stock prices. Or, you know, like why is your company not making as much money as you said it would? You know, like you get to hear a lot of sort of back end things like directions, and I'm the calls have always been kind of a gold mine for at least understanding where the hell things are going. So I think you're right. I think we'll find out about if there's going to be a fall 2018 expansion. We'll find out tomorrow probably. If not, if they don't mention it at all, I'll be a little concerned. Oh yeah. J-Rem, what do you hope for them to say?
I hope that there is a fall expansion. You know, I mean, I'm definitely very critical of this game. I'm not the only one in this world. I want to see the game win. I want to see it be the best game that it can be.
Of course.
You know, and if it takes till September to get there, fine. You know, I'll still be critical of it though. You know, like if I feel as though they're missing the mark, then I'll say something. You know, whether or not it's the most popular opinion. You know, I can deal with the hate. That being said, I mean, I don't know if you can go any lower than what we've seen right now. Like they gotta go up from here, and they can because they've done it before.
But
you know, we know they're capable of this. It's just like, are you guys gonna just commit to it? We'll see. I think they will. You know, I think they will.
Oh yeah. So since we're on this talk of fall 2018 expansion, well, there will most likely be a fall 2018 expansion. So you guys said earlier that you guys would like to see an update that will actually change the game. So would you guys like to see that update for free, and then the content coming with the fall 2018 expansion have a price on it? I know we talked about this last week, J-Ram. So
we did talk about this last week.
It is.
I was worried about that.
Oh yeah, it was your question, so I'm kind of stealing that from you. So Professor Broman, I'm just gonna throw it over to you.
Okay, so That's a rough one, man.
Yeah, the core update free, and then the content behind it.
I mean, if they're gonna make sandbox changes, like big sandbox changes that affect the whole game, that always ends up being delivered for free because it kind of has to be, because everyone still has to play together.
That's true.
So I think, core systems changes, sandbox changes will be rolled out to everybody. But if there's like kind of if any of those changes are attached to power level. That's obviously only going to affect people who buy the DLC.
Yeah.
So I think it might be kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see what they're going to do. Because I think things like strike specific loot and things like that should be free. Like Trials of the Nine improvements and things like that. Like that should be free. But I think like the core content, such as of course raids, the story, and all of that, should be behind a paywall. But if they put some changes such as strike specific loot, like they add strike specific loot to the current strikes, but it's behind a paywall, that would be an issue. Like that's just an example that I can think of. And I just hope they do not make that mistake, because we do know with the launch of Curse of Osiris, they did make a mistake, kind of like that with the faction rallies and Iron Banner. So I hope they learned from their lesson with that.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm still on the page that right now just Bungie's name is not looking too great. The TWAB, I know we'll get to that in a couple minutes here. If they release some free content alongside some updates and shit like that, that would really, really, really win over some people within the community. I really do believe that. Case in point, the Division. Not only did they give you a free update, but they offered more content. There's a true Horde mode, and there's a new Dark Zone part of the map also. And I think that was their way of saying,
1.8 hey, was a killer update.
Yeah, and I think that was their way of saying, you know what? We shit the bed. We took a hard punch on the chin. We fucked up. We're sorry. So here you go. This is our way of saying sorry, and we hope you enjoy it. And it's badass right now. I mean, I cannot wait to start playing Division. It's so good. So good. So if Bungie did something along those lines, I think it'd be great. But if this is a $40 expansion, and if you want to get these certain updates and the new guns and everything, and the revamped, or I don't want to say revamp, but maybe they go back to primary, secondary, heavy with primary elementals or something like that, and they're like, yeah, you can get this with the new expansion. That's gonna be dick. That's a dick move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And the fact of the matter is, guys, they have to meet certain revenue projections.
Yep.
Maybe that's the only way they do it, is by charging money for it.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
it's a complicated beast that they're in right now.
Yep. Oh man, it's gonna be a long 8 months. I would say that every single week. Long 8 months.
Yep.
All right, guys. So let's talk about update 1.1.2 that did launch earlier this week. It did bring some changes, and the main two changes that I do want to talk about, of course, is Armor Masterworks and raid mods. So I have not touched the raid this week, so I can't really talk too much about the raid mods. So Jay, did you? Yep,
absolutely.
Perfect. I was about to pass it on to you. So what are your thoughts on the raid mods? Because I've heard some really great things about it.
It's
because I know were like
the helmet sucks. I wish they would have done something cooler with the helmet as far as the mod. That being said, all the other mods it doesn't make the content overly easy, because we did prestige mode, and we did challenge and everything with the dogs. Or I'm sorry, was it dogs? Yeah, it was dogs. So it doesn't make it easier, but it does make you feel a little bit more powerful in the sense that you don't have to back away from engagements anymore. Like when the bathers come out of the in the bathhouse, and when they come out of the little whatever you want to call those things, when they pop out of there, I mean, I feel good that I can punch that Scion real fast, get the 20% buff for 30 seconds, and I can wipe out that bather quickly without having to rely on heavy ammo. So it changes the engagements up a little bit, which it's a fresh take on it, and it gives me a reason to want to do prestige mode. The raid, I can't say it enough. The raid mods are good. They could be so much better if this is just the tip of the iceberg and what they can do, I'm excited for what raid mods can be. I wish you could apply 2 or 3 mods at a time, not just one.
Oh, it's only one.
It's only one.
Oh,
and
one per.
Well, I mean,
piece.
one per gear piece.
Oh, okay.
What I'm saying is, I want to be able to put 2 or 3 on a gear piece.
Yeah.
Like maybe with the boots, maybe you know, if you or the arms, I think is the arms one where it gives you the I don't know which one it gives. I can't remember. Yeah. Anyway, whatever piece it is that gives you the 20% buff, also make it lightweight, so you move a little bit quicker too. So you could put 2 mods on there, like you know what I mean? Like that would be the possibilities are almost
dual
endless
purpose stuff.
Yeah.
Like I think that's I mean that's something that Warframe does, right? So they have. I'm a huge fan of Warframe, and if anybody is itching for like a looter shooter that they want to play, and then Destiny, you know, you don't like it. Warframe is free. It is for consoles and PC, and it is a hell of a grind. It's got like one of the nicest communities on the planet, but like enough of that. But what Warframe does is like when they start you off, like you get broken mods, right? Like that's kind of how you grow your gear in that game. You get the gear and you have to like level it up a little bit, but that just opens up more mod slots. So you have to do things like add damage mods and then like add elemental mods and all that stuff. So in the beginning, you have mods that are like singular purpose, right? So this mod adds fire damage. This mod adds increased crit. This mod adds increased crit chance, whatever. But then like as you go further down the road, there's more difficult versions of missions. So you'll get nightmare mods from those missions, and those have 2 perks on them. So like this one does crit and fire. So now you're like every single piece of gear that you have starts to kind of increase in value because you went from basically being able to fit 8 different mods on it to 16 if you get the right kind. And then they have another set beyond that takes a fuck ton of time to get called Riven mods, and those can have like 3 to 4 different perks on them, but you have to do some wild ass shit to unlock the full perks. So I would love a mod system like that. Like if they don't want to bring back random rolls, another thing that they could do is make increase the mod system, increase the depth, allow you to further customize via the mod system. And that would, again, like that starts to solve the complexity problem and the ownership problem. And I'd love to see that as well.
And that's why I asked you the question earlier about, does Bungie tend to make the safe choice more times than the right choice? I think they made the safe choice too many times because maybe they think that's too overbearing for people. It's overwhelming. The casuals won't like that as much because the hardcore people will have these amazing builds that they just can't get because they don't have the time to invest. So we'll just water it down a little bit and only give a couple.
True. I mean,
that's the safe choice.
It is easier, safer to maintain balance when people can't be crazy overpowered.
Right.
And I don't disagree with that at all.
So I guess to sum it up, Jay, 2 things. First, the raid perks are dope. They're fun. It makes playing fun again.
But do you feel powerful?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Well, my example that was with the bathers.
Oh yeah, true. True.
Yeah, that actually sounded kind of like it's cool to have an alternate approach to that encounter.
Yeah.
Solely based on the fact that you had that mod, like it gives it more value.
And there are other mods that stack. So if you're smart about how you play it, and this is playing fast and loose, so be careful. But you can let 2 Scions come at you, and then as soon as you start to see that bather pop up, if you punch one and kill him, and then shoot the other one with your energy weapon, not only do you get the 20% increase buff, but you also get the increased buff for your killing somebody with your energy weapon. So they stack on each other. You melt that bather.
Nice.
So like I said, if you could put more mods on it, you don't have to worry about waiting to the last minute to do things. But yes, to answer your question, it makes you feel more powerful. It definitely does. The mods in general, though, like the Masterworks 2.0 stuff on regular legendary gear, they're just boring right now. I mean, I don't feel any more powerful. Okay. Well, I don't feel any more powerful when I have multiple pieces, and when I pop my super, I take less damage because it's PvE. I don't take much damage as it is. I don't know if you I don't know if you knew this, Jay, or maybe the community didn't even know this. You can stand still, and the goblins won't even hit you. It'll take them 15, 20 seconds for them to kill you if you just stand still.
Who?
goblins or hobgoblins or dregs, whatever. You just stand there. Just don't move. You're fine. You know, so popping the super in PvE, I don't really notice a difference. But what gets me excited is the raid perks if they start transitioning that ideology into the legendary stuff, which is what they need to do quickly. That has to come. And I know we're going to talk about the infographic that they gave us and everything in a couple minutes. But right now, it's just, I can't speak about it in PvP because I don't play PvP.
Yeah.
So don't look at me for that one.
All right. Professor Broman, any thoughts on that? On the raid perks? On the raid mods, sorry.
So I haven't had a chance to raid because I've been doing other stuff. But I absolutely have been, paying attention to what's been going on. And, a lot of the feedback people have said, inside the raid, my Guardian feels more powerful.
Yes, I've seen that a lot.
And that's one of the biggest complaints people have with Destiny 2 is, like, I don't feel like an all-powerful semi-god being that can't die anymore. I feel like a punk. Like, I feel like I don't have enough resources and options at my disposal to truly feel powerful in any given situation, because like my option is shoot, and then like once every 3 minutes I can throw a grenade or use a super.
Right.
So I like that. I mean, that's great. For me, I guess I'm sort of holding off coming back and checking everything out until I have some downtime, or until there's been like enough changes all put together at once that I really feel like I'm coming back to a new game, experience. I also, the one thing I didn't see a lot of people talk about, and so I'm a little ignorant of this, is I don't really know how much the Masterworks economy changed. Now you can get Masterworks armor. One of the big problems was like, yeah, I could reroll my Masterworks, or I could like never do that because they're so fucking hard to get cores. So is it easier to grab cores now that Masterworks are kind of
no,
they're everywhere? No. Sad panda.
It's not easy to get cores anymore. However, and I let me look right here, to convert something into a Masterworks, it takes 5 Masterwork cores and then 20 legendary shards, whereas a gun is 10. So the armor is cheaper. But the weird thing about it is,
but it doesn't drop more often. Like
no. And I hate it can drop 1, 2, or 3 cores. It should drop. It needs to drop consistently.
Okay, yeah, like you're gonna get 2 every time or 3 every time. Yeah,
right. And the other thing I just don't get is when you convert. Let's say you have this one chess piece that you like because it has a really high mobility, right? As soon as you convert that, it automatically rerolls it. It doesn't keep it the same.
Oh, okay.
So you can lose that option. Like it may become 100% recovery now. Now, I don't understand why that happens, because all you're doing is converting into a Masterworks, and because it automatically rerolls it as soon as you convert it, I'm a little bit apprehensive because I'm like, well, I don't want to lose that.
I don't want to lose. Yeah, you don't want to lose your monster perk. Yeah.
Right. So right now, the balancing issue for me is, do I want to have decreased damage decreased incoming damage when I'm popping a super, or do I want to keep this thing at 100% mobility? I'm picking a mobility because I already feel okay in a super.
I'm really excited to see. One of the things they mentioned in the TWAB was speeding the whole game up.
Yes.
That is. I can't wait.
That's one of the things, like when I say something that feels like the game's different, like completely new, if everybody's movement speed is faster and all the time to kill is faster, and like that's one of the things that really made you feel powerful in Destiny 1 was you could outmaneuver somebody.
Yep.
And that's a two-way street. You can outmaneuver them because they can move fast too, and if they fuck up, you can advantage on that.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the Destiny tournament that we had at Guardian Con when Luminosity got his super back in 60 seconds because he just shit all over everyone with his movement skill, which like you cannot really outmaneuver a team in Destiny 2. So moments of power like that are huge, and my deepest hope is that when they introduce this everyone goes faster update, that you start to see plays and players like that come back because you can actually do it. You can actually do it.
J-Ram, before we move on to the next point, since you played through the raid, have you seen changes to the rewards? Like, are more rewards dropping?
Yeah, they suck balls.
Oh, rip.
Oh, it's horrible.
Okay. Expand on that.
Well, one thing, awesome. As soon as you beat the encounter, boom, your rewards pop up on the right. It's so fun because now you feel like you're accomplishing something.
Yeah, we're back to
what sucks ass, major ass, is the first encounter, right? I got the class armor piece, right? Next encounter, or I got the class armor piece and I got a bunch of tokens because you get the normal and prestige stuff together now.
Yeah.
Okay. Second encounter, I got 2 class pieces, 1 for prestige and 1 for normal. So now I got 3 class pieces in a row. Then we do the dog challenge. I get 3 effing helmets in a row. Oh, boom, 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 all helmet. I'm like, what the fuck? What is this? Like,
that's wild.
You know, I know this is RNG, but what I'm experiencing is not RNG. I mean, the chances of that happening are infinitesimally small.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And that just, I mean, like that just makes, like, you know, like if there was more complexity, you could have been excited about 3 helmets.
Yeah.
Because you could have been like, which one of these bitches gonna let me fucking ultra stab Callus with my sword or something? You know,
that's
like,
true.
You know, like, and that's the other thing is that, like, repetitive drops happen in every game.
Yeah.
But if there's complexity or if you can add value to the repetition, then nobody gives a shit.
Right.
You can be like, I got 3 fucking helmets. Then you can be like, no, damn it, I got 3 helmets and they're all shit and I hate it.
Well, not only that, even to piggyback off what you're saying, 3 helmets could give you 3 completely different builds for your Guardian.
Yes.
True.
For that specific Guardian. Now you're like, holy shit, dude, I could really do some damage now.
Yeah.
I can have a specific PvP helmet, a PvE helmet, and a go fuck yourself helmet.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
All right, so moving right along in the roadmap, the next update will come on February 27th, and that is update 1.1.3. And that update is going to be bring strike scoring. They're going to rework the emblems and the auras. It's going to show your fire team members on the map. It's going to do PC public chat. They're going to change the RNG on exotics. They're going to do companion mod and shader interactions, companion vendor viewing, and then Nightfall Strike unique rewards. And then a month later is going to be 1.1.4, and that is going to bring changes to the sandbox and the crucible, and that is going to launch on March 27th. So first is going to bring back, it's going to change the sandbox. It's going to bring in heroic strike modifiers, Iron Banner 6v6, a weekly crucible playlist including mayhem, crucible ammo and gameplay tuning, Nightfall challenge cards, crucible quitter penalties. It's going to protect you from getting the same map or strike over and over again. I'm looking at you, Exodus Crash. I hate that strike. And then again, it's going to change the exotic armor and weapons. So let's talk about the sandbox update before we talk about season 3. So you actually started off on Professor Broman. It is called the Go Fast update. So they're going to change They're going to change your movement speeds. They're going to change some supers around, such as Arc Strider is going to do faster attack animations and faster dodge animations. Thank God, because, man, I feel like everyone can just outrun an Arc Strider in PvP. Like, it
sucks.
It does, and I am a Hunter main, so that right there, I'm just so happy.
That hurts.
It does.
Not fun. It's not fun. I'm sorry.
They're increasing the super recharge. Thank you. So no more 1 super per match. They've buffed hand cannons, pulse rifles, sniper rifles, and shotguns, which I'm happy with. But again, I would like to see shotguns and sniper rifles back in the special slot. I would like to see that. And then they're going to change the player respawn for all quick play modes have been decreased. Power ammo respawn timers for all quick play modes have been reduced by 30%. Power ammo respawn timers in survival have been reduced by 40%. Power ammo respawn timers in countdown have been reduced by 25%. Ammo counts have been adjusted in relation to these timers in relation to weapon type. And now your enemies now drop their power ammo upon death. So, what are your thoughts? I know I just said a lot, but what are your thoughts on all those changes, Professor Broman?
Oh man,
I know I just said a lot. I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. I mean, everything about the changes that they've announced make me hopeful.
Yeah.
Right. Like, we were just talking about the potential changes and revitalization of systems, and that's the sort of stuff I like to see. Like when it's like we're completely redoing this, and everyone, like when you see numbers like 40% instead of like 0.03. You get really excited. You're like, oh, well, 40%, that's a drastic change. So when I read all that, it tells me that they really have been playtesting. They really have been seeing what feels dramatically different, because like those are big numbers. Like you're reducing times for stuff in half almost. So I'm excited. But I don't ever really have a final opinion on stuff like that until I get to sit down and see how it feels. Because gameplay feel matters so much.
Oh, yeah.
And if it doesn't feel right, then fuck it.
I really wish they had like some type of PC test server where you're able to test
Play
out.
Test server?
Yeah.
Man,
I really wish they had that. Yeah.
Bungie, please.
Yes, please.
PTS.
Oh, sorry.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
They did that. I mean, they do that with Division. They have playtest. They did playtest servers. And people could stream them and they'd collect feedback from that. It's a really ingenious system, and it ultimately comes down to whether or not the developer wants to let people see that far into the process. And you can, I think you can respect a developer's choice to do either one of those things. But for me, I'd love to, I'd love a chance to do something like that, like big time.
I think it's important because some of these changes are huge. So I would like to see how it plays out before it's in the hands of millions and millions of players, until it launches into the final build of the game. J-Ram, your thoughts on the Go Fast update?
I think it's sadly needed. We need it now. I don't know if you guys remember, but when they had the Destiny, the DRE event, whatever that thing was called, the Dre event, the Destiny reveal event. Do you remember all the Twitter people that were not at the event saying, "Doesn't the game look like it's slower? Doesn't it look like you're moving slower?" Like I remember that blowing up on Twitter, and now we come to find out they did make everything slower. But I just remember like a lot of people that attended that event were like, "Oh no, it's fine, it's fine. It just looks that way." And I'm like, "No, I don't think so. Like it definitely looks slower." And now we can see that they're speeding things up, which is, I mean, we need that bad. Now the question becomes, how are they going to balance the speed up with some time to kill stuff?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I'm not smart enough to comment on that, but I do know time to kill has to change.
Yeah, because I don't want it to be too fast, and it's still kind of like team shooting, right?
Yeah.
Like that would not be fun. So I'm really curious to see how this plays out in the wild. I'm really curious to see that. So yeah, any lasting thoughts on the Go Fast update?
No, just by them increasing the ability recharge rate for grenades, melees, and supers, that makes you feel more powerful. So that should be a bonus.
Yeah.
I'm excited to give it a try.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So next up is Season 3, and that will bring update 1.2.0, and that is going to introduce the brand new Expansion 2. So, Season 3 in May is going to bring Eater of Worlds Prestige Mode, Seasonal Crucible Rankings, Private Matches, Vault Space Increase, Emote Wheel, Exotic Masterworks, Seasonal Vendor Progression, Faction Rallies Improvements, and Mod System Improvement. Now, Expansion 2 is launching in Season 3, and we do know that that's in May. Don't you guys think that's a long time from now? That's a long time from now.
I was hoping for like a more compressed release schedule.
Yeah,
me too.
I think a lot of us were. A lot of the community, myself included, I get really hung up on that idea that that old image that we saw of the DLC roadmap that was like Destiny 1, Expansion 1, Expansion 2, Comet. Before we even knew what Taken King was called, it was Comet, and then it was DLC 3, DLC 4, and all of that was supposed to be coming out inside of a year or 2 years. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I was really hoping to see like a rapid pace of release and development for all that, and it's not happening, which makes me sad. But I also feel like, I would rather, and it sucks to say this again. Can I just say that? Like, I mean, because I said it for Destiny 1 so many times. I'd rather wait and it be good than have it be rushed. But at the same time, I feel like it's been, it's 3 years of development, and I would really I would like it to be both quick and good. I mean, that's I realize that in some situations that's unreasonable, but like that's in the modern scope of gaming, if you're not kind of continuously releasing content, it really can lag your game down hard. And in a lot of ways, Trials of Osiris kept both the Twitch community and the online community, folks who didn't even watch Twitch and didn't watch YouTube, like people would get hype and log on every Friday. And that was really, that was lightning in a bottle for them. They really captured the competitive spirit of the community. And one of the biggest pain points I have, and one of the biggest concerns I had about the announcement when they did it, when they were like, hey, guess what? Trials is coming back. And I was like, ooh, because it's not new. Right. It's not new. The fact that they're bringing out ranked matches and everything like that, that was honestly what I was expecting when they said they were bringing Trials back. I was like, oh, they're going to bring back Trials, but it's going to be like seasons, and there's going to be ranks and all this other stuff, and they're going to reward people. Like, that's a system that makes sense, and it's also new. When they announced that they were doing the same Trials of Osiris formula, except now there's 4 people and he only needs 7 wins and there's no boons, which is not a functional change. I was very concerned because people had 3 years of that experience, and there needed to be a new PvP experience at launch, and there was not. And the PvP community has suffered greatly because of that, and it hurts my heart, and it makes me sad. So I really hope that when seasons come out, they do it right. It feels rewarding, it feels fun, and it feels engaging. A lot of that's going to depend on the other changes they're making. But yeah, I mean, like that at the at the reveal when they said they're bringing back Trials, my first reaction was uh-oh. I know a lot of people were excited and they thought like, oh wow, like it's coming back and that's going to be great. But it kind of played out exactly like I had been saying it would, is like it's old news.
Absolutely, and just to comment on that, Professor Broman, everybody was excited to see. Okay, Trials is back. What is that thing that's going to make it better than what it was? And in a sense, they didn't even do that. They digressed. No more boons, none of that stuff.
There's what I mean? More adept weapons.
I think the design for Trials of the 9 is like head and shoulders above the Trials of Osiris design. Like the credit where credit's due. The Spire's beautiful. The whole experience and the lore behind the Trials of the 9 and like the haunting nature of that ritual and the like really nice like retro futuristic design on all of the weapons with the really cool like the Trials of the 9 logo is fucking awesome. All that stuff is incredible. And it's an amazing shiny coat of paint on something that was old. And it all the Trials weapons feel awesome, they sound awesome, they look awesome. The Trials quest giver is great. The new maps are cool. The lore is awesome, but it's just like the functionality of it I don't think it's what anyone hoped for, and that sucks. I feel like I keep saying things suck.
When you say functionality, can you define what you mean by functionality?
Yeah, like the goal of Trials is to get you to log in on Friday with all of your buds and duke it out, right? And that's the same ritual that everyone has had for 3 years. And again, like to go back to the earlier conversation, it's a development choice, right? There is no way to know whether or not, until it's in the wild, that the community isn't going to love this ritual as much as they did in Destiny 1, in Destiny 2, until they experience it. And I'm sure that there were internal conversations where someone was like, do we do ranked first or do we do trials? And they were basically like, everyone loves trials. Let's do trials.
It's the same.
And honestly, honest to God, there was no way of knowing about the way the community was going to react, because when they did the reveal event and they said the word trials, Twitter lit on fire. Yeah. Like, people were so fucking excited. Mm-hmm. And then when it was delivered after like, well, I mean, and we can talk about that. Like, when it was delivered, it was like, sorry, we have to cancel trials this week. And sorry, we have to like, actually, you're going to play that like week 1 of trials. Awesome. Week 2 of trials was week 1 of trials all over again. Yeah. Because everything had to get canceled. And that really, that pulled all the wind out of the sails. And that sucks. You know, but I feel like in a lot of ways that kind of accelerated an inevitable reaction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Bungie, they are looking for feedback as to how to improve Trials of the Nine. So how would you like to see Trials of the Nine improve?
Faster. It needs to be faster. Everything about it has to be faster. I mean, that was my problem with Trials the first time. Mm-hmm. Was and this is 100% my personal opinion and feelings, and I realize this is not like reflective of what may or may not be great for PvP, but it fucking drags, and I hate that.
Yeah.
You know, you get into a match and you have to spend, you know, you watch emote showcase for 45 seconds. Yeah. All right, I get it. You want me to buy emotes?
That's what it is.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I fucking get it. You do emote showcase for 45 minutes or 45 seconds, and then you get into the match. And then the match types, like, I definitely feel like, you know, oh my God, Countdown is awesome. It forces engagements. It makes people play. Survival blows hot ass. I hate Survival. The second they said, you know, when they were announcing competitive and they announced trials, I was like, shit, well, Survival's going to blow ass because everyone's just going to fucking hold hands in the back of the map and shoot you.
Pretty much.
90% of the Survival matches that I have ever played with Trials, unless I was with a steamroller of a team, and we're, I mean, like playing with Wish You Luck and like people who are like top 100 players in the world, Survival was never fun because it was like, let's play Ring Around the Rosie and haha, we shot you, haha, like haha, ooh, and then there goes 30 minutes of your time for one match. I cannot fucking stand that. So speed it up. That is what I want for Trials. I want it to go faster.
It's
I have strong feelings about it. I didn't even know. Oh, fuck you guys.
No, get it out, big boy. Get it out.
You are totally right. You are totally right. I will also like to see it go back to 3v3 personally.
I can respect that.
Yeah, and I hope they add adept weapons again, because when you go flawless, I hope there's meaning behind it instead of just an emblem. Right?
Yeah, that is something that I completely agree with that. Like the adept weapons, like that, the chase. You know, like the chase.
Everyone was going after the Doctrine of Passing. At least all of my friends were, and the Doctrine of Passing adept. That gun was amazing.
Yeah, adept Doctrine of Passing was that shit. I loved it.
Yeah, so I think they really have to bring in things like that to really improve Trials of the Nine. But yeah, great. All right, so do you guys remember this magazine from August of 2017? It was the Destiny 2 Edge magazine. Do you guys remember this?
I remember hearing about it.
Yeah, there was quotes in it about from Mark Noseworthy and Luke Smith and things like that. So if anyone wants to follow along, I want to go on to page 74. And there's a quote from Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy, which I think is super interesting. I really hope you guys think it's super interesting. So this talks about that over the holiday weekend, meaning back on July 4th, Luke Smith took the game home and he put in around 60 hours into the game, and they found a problem. So, and I quote, and this quote is actually super, super important. Luke Smith says, "We had more content than we had progression." And then Mark Noseworthy chimes in and said, "We turned all these knobs this one way, and it turns out that at hour 55, you fell off a cliff. It's been fixed, of course, but anyone who spent dozens of hours running and rerunning the game's first set of content night after night for weeks on end will agree." So basically, that is talking about that the game just had so much content to play, but there wasn't enough progression. Does that make sense, guys? And you guys have been talking about that throughout the night.
Yeah, where do you want me to start? Lost sectors.
Yeah.
The lack or the lack of adventures and everything. I mean,
and J-Rim, you brought in a really good point earlier, saying Eververse was integrated into the progression.
Right.
So, what are your thoughts on that quote and that whole thing, that they have more content than progression into the game? Because we are months after the game has launched, and according to this, they said that they fixed that problem. Do you agree that they fixed that problem?
Oh no, absolutely not. And we can see that even though, okay, here, let's start over from scratch. Let me get my thoughts correct. Number one, there's a shitload of stuff to do in this game. There really is.
Oh yeah.
There's just zero incentive to do anything. You know, now with this week's TWAB, the development update and everything, it seems like they're starting to push this extremely large vehicle. And if anybody's ever pushed a truck or a van before, it takes a lot of energy to get it started. But once you break that static friction and you start getting kinetic, you know what I mean? You can really start to move this thing. So hopefully this is the start of us getting the move. Now, that being said, there just isn't. There's just not a lot to do. The weapons are all reskins of each other. There's not that one weapon, that one elusive weapon that everyone's trying to get to, nor is there that gear piece. The exotics they just don't feel exotic. The only one that even resembles something that is exotic, 2 of them. What is the boots for the hunter that gives you your super back if you tether?
Oh my gosh.
Orpheus rig.
Orpheus rig.
There we go.
Badass. That is what I'm talking about. That makes me feel more powerful. And as far as a weapon is concerned, and it's not even a good weapon, but it feels, it looks and it acts exotic, is the colony with the little spiders that shoot. I mean, it looks cool. It feels cool. They could probably have done something better with that. But what I'm saying is the exotics just are not exotic. In fact, I don't even have an exotic that I put on other than Orpheus rig. Everything else is legendary.
Yeah.
There's no reason for me to even go after exotics.
So here's a follow-up question. Do you think when they said that they fixed that problem, it's by turning the knob up on Eververse?
No. I think when they said they fixed that problem, it was, we made it easier for you to get loot. It's not as hard anymore. We're trying to fix the problem of RNG, as Professor Broman pointed out earlier, the Forever 29 thing. You know, we made it easier for you to obtain that goal at the sacrifice of giving us actual work to do. You know, how cool would it be if you know, like Professor Broman said earlier, you complete the raid and it drops this weapon frame, but the only way to get, you know, if you went on Nessus, you could get a certain barrel in one of the lost sectors. It had like a 10% drop rate. That gave you like unbelievable range with an auto rifle. At the sacrifice of the auto rifle doesn't do as much damage. Unbelievable range, but you're not going to get as much damage as something with a shorter barrel on it. And then you can start building things. None of that is in the game. Like nothing even resembles that. And people get pissed when it's just, here's the Iron Banner weapons, and it's the Scathelocke with just an Iron Banner emblem on it. Even the stats are the same. Like, that pisses people off. That is not player investment whatsoever, in any form. So, what I think should happen, and I wish they would take Professor Broman's idea. That's a great idea. It's fantastic, because it gives you purpose. You know, and don't make.
There's a lot behind that idea. Like, I understand why it's not there. I don't want to.
You better write that down. And
I don't want to feel. I'm not trying to be unreasonable. You know, I understand that it takes a lot of man hours and things like that to develop a lot of the things or everything that they do there.
Yeah, but other games do it.
Other games do it, and that's why I'm saying, like, a lot of the critiques that I have are kind of just like fundamental ground level changes that they would have to make. Like, I don't know how far. I don't know if it's on an engine level.
It could be.
It could be. And that, like, if you're making an engine level change to a game, you're talking about a big fucking change. You know,
potentially game breaking.
Yeah, potentially game breaking. So you need to wait till you have a new game, which is why I, you know, said maybe not till Destiny 3.
if they build a new engine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
or I mean, like, you can rework the engine from the beginning. I think. But I'm not a genius, and I definitely am not a game dev, so I'm talking out my ass.
I just think it's crazy that they knew that this was an issue before launch, and I'm just really curious to know.
Hold on, Jay. Hold on. Before you finish that thought, did they know that was an issue?
Yeah, they said it.
I mean, because the way I'm interpreting that is, we have a game, we have too much content, but not enough rewards. So we're just going to make the rewards easier for everybody to get. Mm-hmm. That's the way I interpreted it. So to me, that's not them. That is like a punt. It's not the real. It's not a real solution. Mm-hmm. So I don't think they really ever acknowledged it.
Mm-hmm. So, Professor Broman, what are your thoughts on that statement? We have more content than we had progression.
Now this was in reference to Destiny 2?
Yes, this was back in August.
I mean that. I mean, I feel like we've already covered it. I mean, that could have been the case because they had a reboot. That could have been the case because they had they didn't have enough people on the investments team that as many as they wanted, right? Like they didn't have enough designers or enough people designing quests or whatever it might have been. I like, when I think about things like that, I like to think about it from like a corporate or a systematic level, not to make excuses, but to try and help everyone understand that, the reason why there might be more content was because they were really focused on building the world out, right?
Yeah.
And then now, okay, so you have a huge world building team, and then, you're done doing that and you had to go through a reboot or whatever. And now you have an investments team that isn't big enough to handle the world that they're being handed. There's not enough people there's not enough weapons that can be designed inside of the time frame or something like that.
That's true.
So I feel like more content and progression, again, like that can be a great thing because you can have progression, and that allows the character to have progression however they want, by doing whatever path through the vines that they want to take. I don't know. I feel like it's inevitability of the choices and the situation that they were put into. And I wish there's more progression, but there's not. So
yeah.
LOL.
Yeah, I just found this quote just going through all of my old summer of 2017 things. Like, wow, I have a lot of pre-Destiny 2 things that we talked about. So I was just like going through all of that. But yeah, I'm really curious to see how they will fix that problem throughout 2018. I'm really curious on that.
We'll see. We just gotta wait.
Oh yeah. All right, guys. So our final question of the night. We usually do a food question, but we're not gonna do a food question tonight because last week it turned out my food question was very.
The question was good. It's the way you presented the question. It was What's your favorite kind of meat?
Steak.
Oh, steak. Good. You're a steak person. Yeah. But I think I have a pretty interesting ending question tonight. If you could travel to any place in the world, where would you go and how would you get there? Now, for me, I would like to travel to any country that's along the Mediterranean Sea. Of course, I have to fly out there, but I would love to take a cruise around there.
Ooh,
that's smart. Nice like Disney cruise. I think that would be beautiful because I'm a cruise person. I
hate cruises.
Really?
Yeah, man.
All right. Professor
I like cruises.
All right.
I think they're great. You got to get drunk on a boat and go places is nice.
So where'd you go?
Yeah, do I got to go now? Is it me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. I would probably I would go to Italy, and I don't know, a blimp. Why not a blimp, right? Like, just because how many people can be like, oh yes, I'm traveling in my blimp today.
Yeah,
it would just be just to be extra obnoxious. Just I think is honestly my goal. Italy and a blimp. There you go.
All right, J-Ram.
My mode of travel, does it have to be realistic or can it be something that's well, obviously then I want to be.
It can be unrealistic. Yeah.
All right. Well, then I definitely want to be teleported somewhere, so I don't have to sit through lines or anything like that.
Smart man.
And Jay, that's a really good question.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have to say I think it would be fun to go to Japan.
Ooh,
there you go.
Nice.
Never been to
that's on my
Japan or
list, too.
Thailand, something like that.
Yeah.
And maybe back to Ireland, that's where I spent the honeymoon with my wife. We had such a kick-ass time.
Nice.
It would be nice to just go back to Ireland.
Sweet.
Stay in the same hotel and everything. Relive that experience. She's pretty badass, so I had fun.
Nice. Great places, guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
What about you said what? Anywhere along the Mediterranean?
Yep.
Why?
On a nice Disney cruise. I don't know. It's just I would love
Is
to
it
go
food
there.
or something? Is the culture you like?
I would love to visit Greece. Like, I don't know if you know, but I'm really into history and politics and things like that. So I would really like to go to Greece. Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. All right,
Cool,
guys.
man.
Well, thank you so much, Professor Broman, for joining us this week. We had an amazing show. As always, J-Ram, thank you so much for joining.
I had a kick-ass time.
Nice. All right, guys. So where can we find you guys on social media? Professor Broman, you first.
I am Professor Broman everywhere. Professor Broman on Twitch, Professor Broman on Twitter, Professor Broman on Instagram, Professor Broman on Snapchat, even though I don't use Snapchat that much. And yeah, that's me.
Nice. J-Ram.
J_Rambo9119 at Twitter. That's it.
Nice. All right.
Yep.
You guys can find me on Twitter at J_DTR, Destiny Tracker on Twitter at Destiny Track, and on Twitch at Destiny Track, and on YouTube at Destiny Tracker. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the DTR podcast. Professor Broman, again, thank you so much for joining us this week. All right, guys. So we will see you guys all next week. Bye, Guardians.
Bye.
See ya.